When you hear the words jazz pianist, what comes to mind? Maybe you think of someone who can sit down at the piano and just create some beautiful music out of nothing. Or maybe you think of someone who can play maybe some solos, or someone who can play maybe some advanced harmony and some interesting chords. Maybe you think of things like freedom, or maybe expression or creativity. Maybe you even imagine yourself being able to sit down at your instrument and playing the jazz standards that you absolutely love. But the question is, how do you get there? So how do you go from where you are right now to becoming a real jazz pianist? In this video, I'm going to share with you one of the biggest mistakes that jazz students make, and I'm also going to show you the secret to developing real jazz piano ability. We're fortunate. We now live in arguably the best time in history for learning music. You've now got access to more information than any generation before you. So we can learn from books, e-books, we can watch thousands of videos. You can actually study the greatest musicians in history, because you know what, we've already had Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin, Charlie Parker, we've had Miles and a whole bunch of really great musicians. We can buy courses. You can even study with the greatest musicians that are around today. A lot of them offer lessons. So how fortunate we are. And now, with artificial intelligence, AI, you can literally ask your computer to create a complete roadmap for you so that you can become a great jazz pianist. I want to show you exactly what I mean, because I've tried this experiment before and it's quite mind-blowing. So I'm going to type this question into ChatGPT. Please give me all the information I need to become a world-class jazz pianist. I'm going to be realistic. I'm going to say in 2 years. All right, let's see what happens there. It's interesting how quickly this guy replies as well. Okay, I like this. All right, if your goal is to become a world-class pianist in 2 years, information is actually the easy part. Oh, I love this. This sentence right here says the information is actually the easy part. The difficult part, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me just scroll through this because we won't have time to read all of it. Okay, there's my journey. All right, pillar 1, pillar 2, harmony. Okay. This is all good information if you ask me. You've got to learn vocabulary. These are basically the things that I tell people. It's giving me a list of people to even check out, and I can incorporate their vocabulary into my playing. Right. Rhythm. Repertoire. Not from a fake book, from memory. Right. This guy is saying some really meaningful things, honestly. Listening. I don't know if ChatGPT is saying this because it knows me, but I love this ear training, something that I strongly believe in. Again, reading. Some people think I'm anti-reading. Extremely valuable skill, and something that I personally practice every day. Right. Composition. Interesting, because I refer to jazz improvisation as composition. Is pretty much the same thing. Okay, I'm going to let me ask this a follow-up question. So I love this information. In fact, I'm actually going to read this. Oh, there's my 2-year roadmap. Okay, and then it puts it into months. I love it. Okay, so I actually wanted to break it down for me. So I'm just going to say, tell me exactly what I need to work on each month. Okay, let's see. So here we go. Year 1 is telling me month by month, master every major scale, every natural, harmonic, melodic minor scale, every triad, and so forth. All the things actually that I've got in my in my book, which is not yet finished, but I'll tell you guys about it in a few months. Right, functional harmony. So it gives us month by month what we could be working on. This all looks like good stuff. I'm just cruising through it, and in year 2, okay, I love it. Right, let's see. I've asked for month by month, but can it tell me what to do in each week? So if this were the first week of your 2-year journey, I would focus on one of, right, to become completely fluent with the keyboard. I agree with this. This is good information, right? It gives us the goal. Oh my goodness. Right, a 45-minute daily practice plan, actually. This is brilliant. Okay, I could go a step further. Instead of maybe tell me what I need to do each week, what if I say tell me what I need to do today? Okay, let's find out what do I need to do today. Yeah. Okay, so there's my session there. Right, so if today were day 1 of your 2-year journey, I would want you to finish the day with one major accomplishment: becoming significantly more fluent with the keyboard than you were yesterday. I love that it talks about being fluent. Okay, another thing I emphasize when it comes to learning jazz and in my teaching, the goal is to be fluent. Okay, so there we go. Oops, I keep right clicking. Right, geography, harmony. We're already learning how to, I like that it's today's key is C major, so it's one thing at a time. Again, I love this. This is beautiful. Oh, there are the chords in the key of C. Okay, and even today it's telling me, okay, make sure you work on some ear training and so forth. Repertoire, so today's tune, Autumn Leaves. All right, I'm going to work on the bass notes, shell voicings, and so forth. Okay, and even some listening. So from day 1, I'm supposed to listen. All right, I love this. Transcription, free playing, I love that. Okay, it even gives me some reflection. Right. Okay, so bottom line is AI is giving me some really, really meaningful things. I actually think that these results that we got here are actually very, very accurate. And I believe that if you actually do these things, you'll become an excellent jazz pianist. So this is probably, I think, way more information than we actually need. Everything we need is right there. And what's amazing about this is that this information is available to everyone. So feel free to try these experiments that I did. I mean, just do it on your end as well and see what results can come up. And let me actually give you another tip if you want even more accurate results that are more tailored just for you. So you can ask some questions. In fact, what if we say to ChatGPT, you could be using Claude or Gemini, whatever you want, really. I'm sure you'll get pretty much the same kind of results. So what if we say, ask me some questions about my playing and my personal jazz interests so that you can give me the best possible results for my own progress. Okay, so now it's probably going to ask you some things that are more tailored to you, because maybe you like Clifford Brown, maybe you like Bud Powell, maybe you like Teddy Wilson, maybe you like Jelly Roll Morton, you know, maybe you like James P. Whoever you like. You could like Chick Corea, you know, or Robert Glasper or whoever. So try these things out and just see what information ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini gives you. Okay. Anyway, when all said and done, here's the thing that I find interesting from this whole experiment. So as we do this, we now have pretty much all the information that we need. But what I find interesting is that although we've now got the information, our playing has not improved at all. We've got the information, but nothing's changed in our playing. Isn't it interesting that a lot of us, and I've been guilty of this myself, a lot of us buy books, we watch tutorials. Some of you are watching this now. In fact, you are, right? Don't switch off. Stay with me. Right. But I mean, we buy books, we watch tutorials, we buy courses, and yet our playing doesn't change. In fact, speaking of courses, I actually sell courses myself, and from my end of the screen, I can actually see exactly how much the students have covered. And it's extremely fascinating to me how many students buy a course and then they don't even open it at all. So their progress bar will be like 0%. And this could be after months of having purchased the course. I mean, have you ever done that yourself? I've done it before, not for music, but for a French course. I mean, I bought something, I opened it, but I don't think I went past the first lesson. Right, so this happens, and I think the bottom line is, if we want results and if we want transformation in our playing, we need way more than just information. Information's there. What we need is, we must do specific things in a specific way. And I've been saying this quite a lot lately, that jazz is something that we do. Okay, so a lot of the time I also find with my students that often what they think is the problem is not even a problem at all. So students are often thinking, ooh, I need more information. And by this I mean, what voicing should I play over there? Or what's a cool run I could play? Or what songs should I play? Or what licks can I use? What should I be transcribing? Do I need to write it down? So we've already just proved that information won't necessarily make you a better player. So I'm now going to give you the things that you must do to get real results, because I think this whole journey, this whole game is a results game. So music is not something that we talk about, something that we do. Sometimes I have my students who want to just talk to me the entire lesson, which I appreciate, but ultimately we've got to play this music. Okay, so we need to get our fingers on the instrument and actually play. Okay, so the first thing that you must do to get results, and this you do before you even touch your instrument, right? I need you to be honest with yourself about where you really are on your journey. Because if you are to succeed, you must know where you are, you must know where you want to go, and then the third thing is, since you know where you are and where you want to go, you just start taking steps in that direction. And unfortunately, a lot of musicians don't even know where they are. Some, I think maybe the worst thing is claiming that you're somewhere that you're not. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So it's important to know exactly where you are. So some people, what I mean by this, I've got students who will say, oh, E flat, yeah, I know the key of E flat. And then you say, okay, play chord 3. And then they start thinking, chord E flat. Okay, so now they're thinking E flat. Oh no, that's not in the key of E flat. But just now they were saying they know the key of E flat. So you've got to be really honest with yourself. What do you know? What do you not know? What sounds good? What needs work? And what do you not know at all that you actually need to learn? So for me, that's step 1, extremely important. Once you go past that one, I think a lot of people actually don't go past it. If you go past that one, you can now start taking steps in the right direction. All right. So know where you are, but be really honest with yourself. Your ego, I was about to point, is the ego here or is it there? Or is it everywhere? Your ego, right, will make serious noise. It will talk to you a lot, so there's some things that you're probably going to feel are beneath you. Things like scales or, I know my intervals, or I know my 2-5-1. But then if I say to you, play a 2-5-1 in the key of G flat, can you immediately do that? So you've got to be really honest with yourself. This reminds me about a student of mine who I'm going to talk about just now. I might have told this story before, but I'll tell it again, right? But once you know where you are, the second thing you've got to do is you must learn things in the right order. And I'll now tell you of this student of mine, okay? Her name's Amy. Hi, Amy. Not a real name, by the way, before people come and say, oh, we are here to defend Amy. We're the Amy Army. Right. So not too long ago, actually, Amy came to me. She wanted to learn this song called Misty, right? I've spoken about Misty in a few videos, okay? So Amy thought, you know what I want with this song is, can you please just show me how to make the song sound cool? So that's what she thought she needed. Like, what voicings can I play, so that maybe my E flat major 7 is not just sounding like, are there things that I could do? Like, maybe you can show me how to add a ninth to it or something, or how to invert this chord. Maybe some arpeggios. Okay, so Amy thought, well, those are the things that I need, just so that I sound cool. Again, there's a person trying to feed their ego. She also thought that when playing Misty, she had to play the melody, she had to play the chords, she had to play the bass all at the same time. So not just, she wants, so left hand playing, right hand playing at the same time. And I understand why she wants that, because that's what she hears on recordings, or when she sees jazz pianists play, that's what she sees them play. So that's what she wants to learn. And I get that. But what Amy didn't understand is, in order for you to get there, I have this visual, by the way, or this idea that I refer to as the jazz piano pyramid. Okay. And what Amy was trying to do, this thing that she hears other people play, is what I refer to as solo jazz piano or solo piano, right? I consider this to be the top part of the pyramid and also the most difficult. Now, what Amy, and obviously Amy represents a lot of students. Pretty much 95% of the people that come to me for lessons in one way or the other are some sort of Amy, I even have a daughter by the name Amy. Anyway, I consider solo jazz piano the most difficult, and I'm putting this at the top of the pyramid. What Amy didn't understand is that while that's a noble goal to play solo piano, to master it, there are certain skills that she needed to master first in order to play solo piano well. So, first of all, I'm laughing, but I shouldn't be laughing, right? The first thing that Amy needed to actually learn is simple things like playing in time, because her version of Misty was, and then we had to wait in suspense, and then she'd be like, it was very effortful. Before playing anything, I was always in suspense. And then she was trying all these voicings that she had read in books, or maybe in tutorials, I don't know. Pause, Amy, for what reason? Only you know. Right? So Amy needed to play in time well. That's a big one, by the way, for a lot of people. So before you try and tackle all these things, just learn how to play in time. So play with a metronome, or play along with a metronome, or play along with a backing track, or play along with other musicians. Because if I had someone playing with me, those are supposed to be brushes. Sorry if they don't sound like it. But anyway, hopefully you get the point, right? So playing in time, extremely important. She also needed to know her chords and basic chord progressions. So before trying to tackle Misty, one of the first mistakes that I think she, and maybe anyone of my other hundreds of students, you've got to ask yourself, well, do you know how to play some of these chord progressions in that key? Amy actually didn't know, because I remember asking her, what key are you going to play Misty in? And that seemed to, it felt like I'd taken off her head and just shaken it a few times, because she made an assumption that Misty is in the key of E flat, but actually in reality Misty can be played in any key. You know, if you understand your chords, your chord progressions, and your harmonic formula, you'll know this, right? So my question was, Genuine, what key are you playing in? She didn't know. She just knew how to play it, you know. So what I also discovered is, although she could play those notes, she did not know that key. And when you don't know the key, that really limits you, because now all you're playing is what's on that lead sheet, but you can't really do anything with it. So what I would have, in fact, this is what I suggested to Amy, was, you know what? First, you've got to know the key. Step number one, you've got to know the scale. So if you're going to play an E flat, can you play an E flat major scale for me, Amy? She was, okay. In fact, she was one of those. Oh yeah, I can play E flat. I don't know why. A lot of my students, when I ask them to play E, they like to play that note, which sounds good to my ears, but it's not the E flat major scale, right? Usually that's followed by, oh, oops, oh, sorry, and then this is the other one that's very commonly played. Okay, but bottom line is she did not know the scale. So I said, okay, let's take a few steps back. Amy, can you play a C major scale? She said, yeah, I can play a C major. I can definitely play C major. So she played. It's like, yes, that's a C major scale. Okay, so big difference here. You know the key of C major, you do not know the key of E flat. Okay, so that's us being honest, right? So C major, you know, right? What about the chords in the key of C? Okay, so to be honest, she didn't know the chords in the key or what that means, but that just took me a minute to say, you know what, from that scale that you played, if you play a chord on each degree of the scale, those are what we refer to as the chords in the key. And they've obviously got names, okay, which I explained to her, like that C major 7, that's D minor 7, E minor 7, and so forth. But also that E minor 7 is chord 3, that is chord 2. So each chord has got a function in that key. This is pretty much how the lesson was going. Right, so we learned the scale, the chords in the key, and their function, right? And then I said, you know what, Amy, there's a few things called chord progressions that you absolutely must know. Right, so things like a 2-5-1. In the key of E flat, can you play 2-5-1 in the key of E flat? She's like, I've got no idea what you're talking about. Okay, I get it. Why can you not play a 2-5-1 in the key of E flat? Because you don't know the E flat major scale. Okay, but in the key of C, there's chord 2, there's chord 5, there's chord 1. Can we play that? Yeah. She actually got that pretty much the first time, right? Can we use inversions? Yeah. Okay. So now I'm fast forwarding a little bit because all this didn't happen on just that one lesson, you know. So this is over a number of lessons. We ended up learning things like 2-5-1s, things like turnarounds. So we said, okay, I even told her, you know what, there's variations to this turnaround. So sometimes instead of playing 1-6-2-5, you could play 3-6-2-5. You know, you could make your 6th chord a dominant 7 if you want to, like that. Okay, turnaround. As the lessons went on, we spoke about things like backdoor 2-5-1s. So and obviously I'm just glossing over some of these things because these are topics that require time, you know, and actual lessons. But the people that have either done my courses or have done my coaching know that we go through these things in detail. I'll tell you about courses and coaching a little bit later, okay? But anyway, we covered all these things that I consider fundamentals or basic information, without which playing will be very difficult. We covered them in the key of C, which is familiar. I said to Amy, do you know that if you play chord 1 And then if you play, remember chord 4, we want to go to chord 4. If you play a 2-5 progression that takes you to chord 4, again, people that do my stuff know what I mean, right? The 2-5 or 4 in the key of C. There's the 2, there's the 5 of chord 4. Right, so I said 2 simple instructions, right? Play chord 1 and then play the 2-5 of chord 4. There's chord 1, there's the 2-5 of chord 4. And then I said to Amy, now play for me a backdoor 2-5. Okay, we'd already discussed what a backdoor 2-5 is. Simply you going to chord 4 but playing it as a minor 7 chord, or even a minor 6 if you wanted to, and then the backdoor dominant, which is found on the flat 7 degree. I said, hang on a second, Amy, do you realize what you're doing there? Do you realize that you're actually playing Misty? Because Misty is chord 1. Chord 1, then the 2-5 for 4. There's the 2, there's the 5. I'm going to play a backdoor dominant, backdoor 2-5. I'm going to play a 10 around. 1, 6, 2. I said, another 10 around, Amy. Maybe you could even play a different one. She said, yeah, I know I could start on chord 3 and I could make my 6 chord dominant 7. You know, so as the lessons went on and on, Amy not only could play Misty, but Amy actually understood the harmonic makeup of Misty. So she could play that. Over time, she could play Misty in the key of C, in the key of E flat. In fact, people would think, oh, he knows the key of E flat. I'm going to go to the key of D flat. I'm going to play the 2-5 for 4. There's chord 4. Backdoor dominant. 10 around. Okay, I could have done this in the key of D if I wanted to. Same thing. Chord 1. 2-5 for 4. There's my chord 4. Backdoor dominant coming up. 10 around. I could do this in all 12 keys, thinking about this in exactly the same way, right? So I'm thinking about harmonic formula and how the songs put together. This is how you become a real jazz pianist. Not just by playing the notes on the lead sheet or by playing the song in the key that it's written in. It's by understanding how the song is put together. Key of E, chord 1. Tell me what comes next, people. 2-5 for 4. There's chord 4. What's coming next? Backdoor dominant. What's coming? 10 around. Should I do another 10 around? Yes. I can invert my chords as well because I've learned my fundamentals. Okay, so step number 2, which is what we were talking about just now, is you must learn things in the correct order. So know your scales, know your chord progressions, know the important harmonic formula in jazz, and understand how the tune is actually put together. All right. Actually, that's point number 3. You must understand these things. Okay, so we had said as the first thing, be honest about where you truly are, right, on your journey. And then we said you must learn things in the correct order. And then the third thing is now you've got to understand your harmonic formula, okay, so that you know how these things are going. Right, so if Amy knew these basics, she would have realized that that Misty is actually not as difficult as she thought. The only problem here is she was playing it in a key that she did not know, and she didn't understand the harmonic formulas and the chord progressions. Okay, so the fourth thing I would say is get some guidance. So already in this video, I've told you exactly what you need to do actually to get from where you are to wherever you want to go. So now you're faced with three options. So option number one is, since you know the information, since you know the roadmap, you can basically now go ahead and implement these things using your own time, your own effort, your own energy. And that's absolutely fine for the majority of people. Okay. Option number two is you can get any of my courses depending on where you are on your journey. If you're not sure where you are on your journey, actually, I'm going to put a link to a quiz, which I'm going to encourage you to take. That quiz will probably give you a bit of an idea of exactly where you are, what you already know, but what do you need to work on. Okay, so I'm going to put a link to that. In fact, you know what, if you want the quiz, just say my jazz journey, just type that, and then I'll send you a link to that quiz. Otherwise, there's going to be so many links all over the place. All right, so you feel free to get any of my courses depending on where you are on your journey. And with these, obviously, you get the material in a very structured way. And then what this will do for you is it will save you time, it will save you your effort, it will save your energy. It will cost you some money, but it will save you time. And I think time is way more important, right? So if you want to check out my courses, just go to my website and you will find the Jazz Piano Fundamentals course and you'll find the Jazz Piano Lab. I'm still working on Jazz Piano Improv. Actually, that's the name of my next course, which will be available from August. Okay, but please do check that out. So I've given you two options, right? Number one, go ahead and do it by yourself. You already know what to work on. Option two, courses. You can work on this material at your own pace, but at least it's structured. It will save you time. Option number three is you can do some coaching with me. And you do this by simply joining one of my classes. All right, so I have got 3 classes that will be starting on the 1st of August, which is less than a month away. That's probably like 3 weeks away or something. Classes will be on Saturdays and Sundays. In fact, I'll share more information about these in a workshop that I'll be doing on Zoom sometime soon. So keep an eye out for that information. If you are interested, please check out the link in the description about the workshop or the coaching, or you can simply scan this QR code right here. All right, so if you've got any questions about the things I've covered or you're curious about them, please ask me. If there are any things that you'd like me to cover in the Jazz Piano Improv course, please let me know, and I'll be sure to add those things to the new course, which is available also in August. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please support me by clicking on that subscribe button. Like the video, share it with other people, and again, let's have those comments that help us to learn. Not black t-shirt, don't you have a white one? So comments that are useful for us transforming our jazz piano playing. That's really my primary goal, okay, and hopefully your primary interest. So please do practice. Remember, jazz is something that we do, not just something that we talk about. And I know obviously in this video I've spoken a lot, but I've shown you a few things there. So practice, practice, practice. And I hope to hear from you how things are going. And I hope to see you in the next video.